Well, hello. It's another My Music with me, Graham Coath, and I'm going to be joined in a minute by the wonderful Eliza May. That's right. But before we have that, we're going to have this video, and then I'm going to explain it all. And there you go. So that's what that's all about. Is if you go to analogtrash.com and /supporters club, you get one of these if you pay enough money, which is the pink box. But it's a good pink box, and it comes in the post, and it comes with lots of goodies inside. You open it up, and there we go. We've got picture discs. We've got to be careful not to break it. Got pin badges. We've got albums on CD. There we go. More albums on it. It's almost like a TARDIS. You just keep going like that, and it's full of wonderful things. So why wouldn't you want to do that? I don't know. But enough of that. Just do that, because it's a fantastic thing to do. I want to talk to my friendly guest, Eliza. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Oh, where are you coming from in the UK today?
I'm from Birmingham, because that's where I'm based today.
Birmingham. Okay. What's it like in Birmingham then?
It's all right. It's a bit grey today.
Sorry, that was my rubbish Birmingham accent. But yeah, it's a bit grey. A bit not a good day for going out busking today then.
No, I wouldn't busk in this weather today. It'd be a bit of a risk.
Now, you were telling me just before we came on that your life is kind of surrounded by music. You're kind of music 24/7 a day, which is fantastic way to be. So outside of making music, you also help people to appreciate music who perhaps don't appreciate music. Is that correct?
Yeah, I work for a few music charities around the West Midlands, and we kind of give the opportunity to people that may not have it yet how to get into music, basically. So we've been in hospitals, youth clubs, schools, like anywhere really that there's a need for music or an interest. That's where we go.
You see, I didn't even know that existed. I think that's
to be honest. I didn't really know until a few years ago, and then I kind of fell into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
Yeah, I think it is. Look, I'm being told off already. Easy on the Brummie impressions. Yeah, I'll go steady. I'll go steady. Don't worry. But no, that's brilliant. I mean, like round here where I live now in Somerset, I'm going to be careful because I nearly did a Somerset impersonation then. But we have quite a lot of those little farms where if young people have never seen animals, which again I find quite interesting, they can go and see a cow or a sheep or a donkey for the very first time, which is lovely. Yeah, in fact, we have the donkey sanctuary just down the road. Hi to the donkey sanctuary. But yeah, I knew that there were these places and these charities that were involved in helping kids from sort of urban areas know a little bit about the countryside and a little bit about rural animals, etc. But I never knew that about music. That's a fascinating thing. And what's the general reception like?
It's pretty good, to be honest. We kind of go with the flow of what the participants really want. So if they're into music heavily, we'll be like, well, what do you want to do? Would you like to learn an instrument? Would you like to produce? What you're interested in? But if they're not interested in music on that level, we normally just ask them what bands they like or what they listen to, if they had an interest at all. We just kind of base it around them, just take it at their speed.
That's fantastic. Have you ever discovered any hidden sort of talent?
To be honest, a lot of these kids, you look at them and you're like, oh, they may not be into music that much, and then they come out and they're playing 3 different instruments. They're like, oh yeah, I've been loving music forever, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing. You're so talented, you probably didn't even know.
That is so cool. Oh, So we could have, you know, the next big thing on our hands, and you might actually discover them, and you yourself might be the next big thing. When did you first start making music?
I think when I knew what my sound was, I was probably about like 18, 19, but I'd been playing music like forever. Like I started trying to sing at the age of 3, which
to sing.
Yeah. Well, I was like I was like copying like singers on the TV. So I was really big into Avril Lavigne. So all of her music videos would come on, and I'd be like trying to like sing what she was singing, but I had no clue what she was talking about.
Things so
complicated.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Did you dress up like Avril Lavigne as well?
No, oh my God, I was not that cool of a kid.
You didn't go out and buy a skateboard and fall over lots?
At one point I did. I can skateboard.
Fantastic. Oh, no. That's brilliant. So Avril Lavigne is on there. Well, any other inspirations at a young age?
I mean, when I was very young, it was like S Club 7. Like everyone was into S Club 7.
Why not?
Yeah, it was mostly Avril Lavigne, and then when I got to like my teenage years, I was very inspired by like Paramore and like Panic at the Disco and the Main and like that kind of pop rock kind of scene.
Yeah.
And then like now I'm kind of into like Frank Turner, still Paramore, Fickle Friends, the Wombats. I love Olivia Dean as well. She's incredible.
I was going to ask you, do you like the new Paramore album? I think it's a bit
I've only listened to half of it.
Have you?
Yeah, I've not had a lot of time, but what I've heard, I've been loving.
Yeah, it's just I just like the new kind of jazzy elements as well. So, you know, it's just a little bit more experimental. Yeah. Coming off the back of her solo album, etc., it just kind of hit a bit more of an experimental vibe, which I think was really good. Stephen says Skater Boy.
That was the first song I probably listened to be honest.
Yeah, trust me, I was never a skater boy. I have absolutely zero balance whatsoever. I can't even stay upright on a bicycle, let alone a skateboard.
No.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Are either of your parents musical, by the way, or anybody else in your family?
Like my mum was a little bit musical. She played the flute, and so I also play like clarinet and saxophone. So I think I got that kind of interest from her. And my nan was always like singing around me when I was younger. So yeah, they're like my two kind of family influences.
Fantastic. And in terms of a flautist, was she more of a classical kind of flautist, or was she, you know, outright kind of Jethro Tull? Did she ever stand on one leg and rock out?
I mean, I'd love to imagine my mum doing that, but I don't think she did. I think she was just playing it like bog standard normally.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Lovely. So when you did start writing, at the grand old age of 18, which for me seems like many centuries ago, what was your first approach to writing? Oh, we have a pause in the interweb. Oh no! Everything was going so well, and now this is a shame. We've lost Eliza for a second. Let's see if we can bring her back. No, we've lost Eliza for a second. Hopefully we will get Eliza back in a minute or two. We've lost her. This is the second time recently that we have had problems with the internet. What is going on in life? Sing a song and keep us entertained. I happily sing a song and keep you entertained, but unfortunately my contract does not allow it. But if you do want to hear me singing a song this morning, you can hear me singing a song on Twitter. If you go there, Ruby J, who was on the other day, did a challenge this morning. She put out a little bit of a song while she was singing in the kitchen, and that was brilliant. And I had to respond to that by singing. Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
What happened?
You froze in the midst of all of that, but I'm glad to say we have got you back. There seems to be a lot of gremlins with Wi-Fi at the moment around the country. I think people aren't putting enough money into the meter. I was challenged to sing a song whilst you were away, but I said I've already done that on Twitter today, so I can't do that. So yeah, when you first started writing music at 18, what was your kind of focus in terms of how to approach that? Are you a pick up a guitar type person, or are you whistle a happy tune first?
To be honest, I started like trying to songwrite and like just getting anything on paper around the age of like 11 or 12. So back then I'd kind of have like either some guitar chords that I was like twiddling about with, and I'd be like, oh, they sound pretty cool. Or I'd have like a lyric pop into my head and I'd be like, oh, how can I like just kind of get that down and like try and find a melody that works. And I think I still have that approach now in my writing, but I don't know, I just let inspiration kind of take me most of the time. I never try and force anything.
Yeah. In terms of kind of layering that up and turning that into a kind of fully fledged piece with like keyboard sounds and drums and everything else, do you do all of that yourself, or do you work with anybody else?
So I normally work with my band. So I'll write a song, I'll take it to the band, and then we'll kind of like just jam it out, because I know that my band want to be writing their own pieces basically, and I don't want it to be just about me, because I feel like we're a team. And so I normally go up to them, say, hey, this is the song, do you like it, do you not, do you want to jam it out with me? They jam it out with me, they come up with their own parts, and we kind of work together and see what fits best. And there's times as well where like I'll come up with something and I'll be like, maybe try it a different way, and then we'll try something else. So like it's a real team effort, I think, at the moment.
That's definitely the way to go. Paul says hi. Paul's a massive music fan.
Nice.
And also in the mental health space as well. So
amazing.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And in fact, his son is a musician. Say hi to your son, Paul. And you might see him on the circuit at some point. So there we go. And that could be a lovely meeting.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of subject matter, because this EP that you've released, this latest EP, with the wonderful cover of you playing with a balloon, which is heart shaped, etc. It's never been done before, has it? But yeah, it's a very personal set of songs. Did you feel okay writing stuff that was quite so personal?
I think, yeah, I feel like at the time I never intended to like think about it in a release kind of way. So I knew I'd probably release them, but that wasn't like at the forefront when I was writing it. So most of the time, as I said, like inspiration only hits, I'll just kind of write what I'm feeling. So in the moment, I was just kind of like trying to get my feelings on paper. And the fact that it was in a catchy kind of song was great. Like that's just a bonus. But yeah, when I looked back on them all, I was like, oh, they all kind of have a similar theme, and that's how I ended up like putting them all together. So it wasn't too bad by the end of the process. The beginning, I was kind of probably going through each emotion as I was writing it.
Yeah, but then when you kind of release that and that start to put it out there and start writing about it, or putting together stuff about it to go out and let people know about it, did you then go, was there a minute where you just sort of stopped and went, oh, this is quite personal? Yeah, I hope this isn't taken the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, most of my songs as well are very like sugar coated about, so like no particular person could probably figure out it's exactly about them, which is very intentional. But when
Keith, it's not about you, all right? It's not.
It's not. But like when I was writing my EPKs and like sending it out to like blogs and radio stations, I was like, oh, I actually have to be very personal here, and I have to like actually tell people what it's about, which I always struggle with anyway. But like because it was so personal, I was like, oh gosh, I have to really bare my soul here.
Oh, that's great though. That's great that you can do that. And did you find the whole process quite cathartic in that respect?
Yeah, it was nice to just kind of get it out there, to be honest. And I think especially when I was like going into detail about what everything was about, it was nice to kind of be open and honest about that. I do that a lot at my shows as well now, because I think at first when I started doing shows, I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk on the mic, I don't really want to say what this song's about. But then like now I'm kind of used to it, and it's nice to like be so open and honest, because then the audience feels like they're like a friend, and it's kind of like a two-way conversation instead of it just being me like, here's some songs.
That's an interesting thing, playing live and the banter bit in between. the songs. Did that come naturally to you, or did you find that you had to learn how to do the banter?
Yeah, I felt like I had to learn how to do it. Like, if I'm not on stage, like we're having a chat now, this is how I am all of the time. So like, I love a good chat. I love a bit of banter. Like, it comes pretty naturally off the mic. But then when people are looking at you, I think it's the fact that people are looking at me to say something and they're not necessarily going to react. Because like I've performed to crowds where they literally stand there like lemons, like, yep, cool. But then I've also like performed to crowds that are absolutely lovely and will have like that interaction and stuff. So yeah,
we've got some questions. So Kieran said, how did you get over that feeling of not wanting to speak on stage?
I think I just like started putting myself in the position to do it. I'm one of those people that likes to step out of their comfort zone. So yeah, if you push yourself in the deep end a little bit and maybe like practice it beforehand, like the day of the gig, maybe an hour or two before, practice what you think you want to say in between the songs, that kind of helps.
Well, the way I always dealt with it, not that I struggled particularly, but the way I kind of deal with it was always to the same kind of advice that someone gave me when I first started doing radio, which is just to imagine one person in the audience. Don't think about the whole audience, just think about one person and kind of speak to them. So it's almost imagine a dialogue is going on between you and the one person you're looking at. So you try and find at least one person in the audience that looks remotely interested in what you're doing and just have the conversation with that person. It really kind of helps, because otherwise, as you say, if sometimes you look around and it's a sea of, it's kind of like, or they're looking at their phones these days, isn't it? It's typically they're kind of down looking at their phones. It's like, and you don't want to go, oi!
Yeah.
I'm over here. Although there are artists that use that approach, and I think it's quite interesting and fun. And Paul's asking, have you got any upcoming gigs, preferably in the South?
Oh, I'd love to play more in the South. We do have we've got some festivals booked, but I'm not allowed to say the festival yet because they've not been announced.
Everybody's doing that at the moment. It's so frustrating. Everybody I have on is going like, I'm doing some festivals. Can't tell you what festivals, because
because we like sign stuff and we're like, we won't like announce it until a certain date. But I mean, one thing I can say, which might link to me playing further in the South as well, is that my band and I are playing the quarterfinals for the Isle of Wight New Blood competition next Friday. So fingers crossed we get through that. If we get through that, we'll be put onto like the next stage, and then I think the next stage is in London. And then eventually, if we get through all the stages, we'll be in the Isle of Wight. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But you've heard it here first. Eliza's name will be on various festival T-shirts this year. We just can't say which of those festival T-shirts it is.
Very true. So no, I'm trying to like book some more gigs as well down south, but like knowing the right people to go to as well is pretty difficult when like you're a West Midlands based band. So if anyone has any suggestions, feel free to drop me a message.
I'm sure people listening will actually. So if any promoters out there, anybody that helps, and of course I make it even more difficult where I am because I'm in the southwest. Have you ever been to the southwest of England?
Yeah, I went to uni in Falmouth. So I was
you went to uni in Falmouth.
Yeah.
Probably the and I mean this without talking about baked beans, probably the windiest university ever. I had to visit there once to do a talk, and because I used to work in the higher education sector, and I've never known wind like it.
Yeah.
I got out the car and it was like, unbelievable.
That's winter from like September to like March is just fully windy, but then like after that when the sun comes out it's gorgeous. Like it was so nice out there.
And it's such a interesting campus to get to as well, because it's literally you get to a roundabout, you come off the roundabout and you're there. I mean it just suddenly appears as if from nowhere. Now, here we go. So Paul's got some advice for you. Some great small venues not far from me, Boiler Room in Guildford and Face Bar or Sub 89 in Reading. Heavy pop in local promoters. There you go.
Oh,
she's
incredible.
writing them down as
the phone is out and jotting it down.
Look at that. See, we make things happen on this program.
Thank you.
And Paul's son he's got his first gig on the 17th of March. So he might be get in touch with Paul afterwards. Paul, get in touch with Eliza and help make all of these things happen. It's fantastic. But what's the reaction been to the EP? Because it sounds like you're getting a really good reaction across the board, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so far a lot of people seem to be enjoying it. I've had quite a few like blogs and radio stations play my music, which is so nice, because I released the first 2 singles last year after having like a 3-year gap from releasing anything at all, half because of the pandemic and half because I was like still writing stuff. So to actually be able to release it was like incredible, and to have people actually respond and be like, oh, we like that, is like mind blowing, because we spent so much time and effort on the EP and making it look right, sound right. We made 2 music videos for it as well. So it was like a whole process. So it kind of feels like all the hard work is like fully paid off. And yeah, it's just nice to see other people enjoying something that you spent so long sat with.
What's the ambition for the future going forward? Are you an EP type of person? Or would you do an album?
I think I'd definitely do an album. I think what I've learned though, this partially comes from my degree as well, because I did it in popular music, is that I feel like you should only really release what there is like a demand for. So like I could easily probably make a whole album, record it, drop it, but I don't feel like many people would want that yet.
Yeah.
I feel like there'd be like a handful of people that probably would, but I think it's also easier for me at this stage as well, as an independent artist, to just kind of do singles and EPs, and then if there was a demand for it, then I'd move on to albums. The bigger I got, hopefully.
It's quite interesting that what you're saying there, because a number of the younger artists that I've spoken to coming through now have kind of got the same kind of headspace with that, which is that, and I think it's obviously something that is being taught as well, which is that, you know, music these days, in the way that it's being consumed, it's all about sound bites. In fact, I talked to a band the other day who were saying that, you know, part of the way that they write as well is that they try and get, you know, a very strong melody in there several times within the song. So, you know, there's an element by which that might get picked up and used in this or that or the other, so that's what's going to carry it as a mechanism, you know. So kind of the good old days of people, you know, my generation going, oh, the absolute opus is must make an album.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of gone, but yeah, I think it's still there, but it's more a case of, from a business head point of view, as much as anything else, it's important to as you say, to give people music in the way that they absorb music these days, and that is in small bites, as opposed to the longer form, until, and this is where I'm going to, you know, kind of go back on that, until you perhaps in yourself feel there's a subject matter which is a whole album, and that's a different thing.
I think unless you've like you split it in two and you really are thinking about it from a business headspace, like, if I feel like I still kind of follow my heart and think, if I did want to write like a whole album and drop it, I wouldn't stop myself if I like really wanted to. But I also feel like, as well, for me personally, I haven't found like a set of songs that all fit together that well. It's just like one topic. But I'm sure I'll get there at some point. Like, I'm happy with my EPs and singles for now.
It will happen at some point. Kieran's asking, what are your thoughts on using TikTok sounds to launch new music? Of course, you know, there's a platform within the platform there which enables you to kind of license your music for people to use within the platform. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of TikTok, but I'm very like half and half about it, because I feel like it's great to break an artist, very much like that. Sometimes I have moments where I'm like, yeah, this is incredible, like it's the best thing ever, but then other moments I'm like, there's a lot more hard work that goes into it that some artists are potentially missing, because you might have a load of viral videos on TikTok and it might sound great for 30 seconds, but could you perform at a gig and hold a 30-minute set? Could you like play a festival? Could you release an album? Like, could you hold someone's attention for longer than that? And I think some artists that are out there can. There's actually a friend of mine that is just blown up on TikTok.
Wow.
And now she's like signed. She's doing so well. She's called.
I didn't literally blow up. That's okay.
No, she's very much intact.
Can you imagine that though? That would actually be quite amazing, wouldn't it?
But no, she's called May Stevens, and she like released this song called If They Ever Broke Up, and it was like a quick little snippet, and she did these really clever TikToks where she like changed her glasses and stuff. And people just went absolutely crazy for it, and now she's like signed. She's got like 100,000 followers on Instagram. She's just doing so well. She's only 19, so she's done amazing from it. So she's the type of artist though that was gigging beforehand. She was putting in the work alongside of it, so it's worked really well for her. So when it works like that, it's perfect. Like, it's incredible.
There's a few people like that you know really kind of work the visual and the, you know, do a lot of video stuff as well. Ellie Dixon's another one, isn't she, where she's really fantastic, you know, her videos where I mean, at the moment she's dressed up as a lizard everywhere, which is fantastic because she's written a song about a lizard. But you know, it is a lot of work. It is an awful lot of work, and I don't think people appreciate the amount of effort that people put into these videos and everything else to get where they need to get to there.
Definitely, because like I do it as well, and I make my like niche is like 3-part harmony videos. So I'll take a song or I'll take my own music and I'll just kind of mainly focus on the main vocal and add like my own harmonies and stuff and change it around a bit.
Don't we love that? Don't we love that?
Thank you. I mean, if you want to check them out, my handle's at Eliza May official.
Because the original one, you know, was you know, going back many years ago. The original one with the harmonies was when Flying Pickets got to #1. Do you remember that? You won't remember this, right? With Only You, the Yazoo song.
No.
Yeah, check that out. Looking from a window above, it's like a story of love. Looking for my... You do that. And anyway, so just check it out. That's one for you to do. Bring back, if you do that, you see what you do. You'll also pick up all of the old cronies like me who remember these classic songs, but you'll also get a whole new generation.
That's
Caravan
true.
of Love by the House Martins is another one. Do you know that one?
No, you're gonna have to send me like a long list of songs. I'm just gonna have to work through them.
There you go. Flying Pickets, you're showing your age, Graham. Absolutely, I'm showing my age. But what I'm saying there, Paul, is that if some of these younger guys and girls do some of these songs, what they do is that not only will they get a new generation, they'll also get all of us old cronies at the same time. I'm not putting you in that bracket, of course, Paul. Kieran said, check out Gig Pig. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I've not like researched enough into
Cool
it.
platform designed to help artists and venues book gigs. There you go.
Oh, I'll look at that. I'll check it out.
All happening here today. All happening.
What's going on?
So, EP. People need to check out the EP, and it's called, just so that people...
Candy Heart.
Candy Heart. How can you forget that? If you buy enough copies of it, it comes with its own free box of chocolates in the shape of candy. If you buy enough of it, and I'm talking about like 20,000 copies.
I don't even think I have 20,000. I've got 45 left.
Well, there you go. Will you do merch as well? Are you going to do merch? Yeah.
So I did kind of a print to order set of merch. If you go on my website, you can find all of these really cool designs that say like "Sugar Sweet is what you are," and like sweatshirts with cakes and donuts and stuff, and little candy hearts as well. I think there's a t-shirt on there as well that says "You've got a candy heart." And then my first single off the EP was called "Edge of This," and it's got a line that says something like, "Sometimes life can give you lemons." And we made these orange t-shirts that have like lemons here and lemons on the back.
Oh, I want one. Cool. I want one. Have you got one big enough for me though?
Oh yeah, it's print to order, so like the size goes.
Oh, is it?
It's as big or as small as you like. It's there.
There you go. Paul's asking, is there a physical release?
Yes, there is. I need to put it on my Bandcamp. I'm currently like in the process of moving house, so I haven't had a moment to put it up yet physically. But I do have physical copies of the EP. They're only £5, so I'm going to be putting that on Bandcamp soon.
There you go. Bandcamp, the musician's friend.
Oh yes.
What a place to have everything all under one roof. But you can actually pay musicians to listen to their music by going to Bandcamp. Fantastic, especially on Fridays when it's Bandcamp Friday. That's the perfect time to do that as well. Eliza, it's been brilliant talking to you today. So we're looking forward this summer to more music from you. We're also looking forward to you going around the UK, doing a little tour and playing some festivals, which we won't know where you are. So it'll be like, where's Wally? But actually it's where's Eliza May?
It's like a proper guessing game.
Just like, people are just going to have to check out. They're going to have to check out that list on festivals to find out where you are. Or actually, you will let them know if they follow you on the social medias.
Indeed.
Of which you are on. Pretty much all of them, aren't you? Which is your favourite out of the different social medias, actually?
I think my favourite is Instagram, which is a little bit controversial because it's mostly just pictures and videos. But I love Instagram, and I'm often actually chatting to people in my DMs. So if you ever want to chat, my DMs are like always open about music and all sorts of stuff.
Absolutely. There we go. Kieran, thanks, Eliza. Good luck with the festivals this summer. You will notice that a lot of the people watching today have actually come from LinkedIn. Yes. That's because I actually broadcast this on several platforms, and one of them is LinkedIn. And I was told when I first started doing these little music things that nobody is going to watch these on LinkedIn. And I think we've proved today. There we go. Thanks, Paul. I think we've proved today that that's categorically not the case. And also, can I just a little tip for all young artists: get yourself on LinkedIn as well. Because LinkedIn is actually full of people of a certain age with money.
Very true.
I mean, I can't make it any blunter than that. But ultimately, these are the people that can afford to buy your tickets, can afford to buy your albums, can afford to buy your EPs, can afford to buy your merch. So if you actually want to get ahead of the game, get yourself on LinkedIn. It's not a bad platform at all. In fact, are you on LinkedIn?
I have a personal account on LinkedIn, but that's normally for like my teaching. So I probably should have an artist account on there.
What you do is you have an artist page on your personal account. We can talk about that. We can talk about that afterwards. But that is definitely a thing to do. It's an important thing to do. Get yourself out there on as many platforms as possible so that actually you get as big a reach as possible. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for talking music with me. I wish you all the best with your career. Do come back, won't you, when you're a mega star? I say that to everyone. No one will, because they forget about me. Oh, will you? Oh, that's nice.
No, I try to remember everyone that's helped me along the way because, I wouldn't be here without all the little people that have helped me along the way at all. So.
And you're right. I am very little.
No, you're not.
I'm only 6 foot, and there's a lot of people these days.
5'8".
Oh, well, there's a lot of people much taller than us these days. I don't know what happened, a few years ago, but people were eating too many shredded wheat, I reckon, in the mornings. I walk down the street now and like everyone's up there, aren't they? Yeah. It's unbelievable.
I feel like a tiny bean, honestly.
I wonder what's going to happen in the future, Eliza. I reckon we might get to festivals in the future and nobody will actually be able to see the stage because all the tall people will be standing in front of it. They're going to have to already. It is. They're going to have to start making mounds that go like that up at the back so that the short people can stand and watch over the top of the heads. There you go.
That's incredible.
Paul says exactly the same to Harry. He's on LinkedIn, needs some more connections. So Eliza, Harry Burgess, find Harry Burgess on LinkedIn, connect with him, and then you never know where that might go. There might be a duet in the future, or at least a gig partner. Who knows?
That's amazing.
Yeah, Eliza, brilliant for you. Brilliant coming in today. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed the my music experience.
I have indeed. Thank you.
I'm going to watch your career with interest as it develops over the next few years. Take care of yourself. Everybody, do subscribe. Do support Analog Trash. They're doing a great job of supporting independent music out there. Have a look at their supporters club, because who wouldn't want a pink box arriving in the post once in a blue moon? And take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of the week. Bye for now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.